I'm on right now. I'm just cleaning up my desk a bit, so bear with me. I'm running a little behind today. Bear with me for just a few, and we'll wait for everyone to get joined in. Okay. Checking to see how my voice levels are. Okay, looking pretty good. I had to adjust them last time because they were a little bit hot. This time looks pretty good. Okay. So we'll just give it a minute here to let everyone join in, and we'll get started. I'll just wait for my little counter doohickey you can see right down about there, showing 0 currently. It's always delayed though, so there may be people actually viewing already and it just doesn't reflect it yet, so no worries. We'll just give it a minute here to let that number change, even just to 1 or 2. It is being very slow today. If anyone can see me already, please message in the stream chat so I can see that you're actually viewing things. There's a bit of a delay, as I said, so you may see this and it may actually be several seconds after I've actually said it. Okay. Wally says you're here. Okay. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So my little icon down here still says 0. It's always delayed a bit. We'll go ahead and get started. So, like I usually do with each month, I'll start off with the bosses. So the first guy here, I'm on the wrong window. The first boss looks to be new. Yeah, it looks to be new. It looks like air and water, I think. Actually, no, sorry. That's air and earth, I think. And that's air and water. The reason why I say that is because that's a reused boss. So this one here has been previously used before. It was... I can't remember what the first one was, but the most recent one was supposed to be air and spirit. It was the month we had a few months back when it was an air and spirit armor. It was a third raid that never happened because everything was still delayed by a week back then. So this one was used then, but or rather it was in the files but was never used. So this was originally an air and spirit raid back when they were still doing non-adjacent raids. So that one is a reused boss, and that's a new boss. So boss number, image number 2 is boss 1. And that's not a guarantee of the order, it's just how I name them. They came out that way, so that's how I name them. And then we have boss number 3, that's boss 2. So, as expected, air and earth, air and water. Because this is air month. So, coming up for June. Okay, so next up we have our armors and all the rest of the images. So the first armor we have here, that is a reskin. Combo reskin, actually. So this is the head of an air and spirit armor, if memory serves. I can't think of the name, like Cloud Cutter, something like that. The weapon, armor, and I think shield are the same. No, sorry. The weapon and the armor are a different armor entirely, and the shield is also a different armor. So this is actually 3 different armors combined into one. So kind of like the armor we have currently for the war, that one is a combination of 3 armors. So I think it's the head, the helmet, meteor blade. There you go. Thank you. The meteor blade is the head. The shield I think is from a different armor though entirely. But the weapon, I can't think of the name now. Was an either air and air or air and water, I think, if memory serves. But this was like I said, to this current armor we're in right now for the war, the Dual Earth has the head and the ring and amulet set of the Title Cut Blader, the armor and weapon of the an air and fire, not Elios. I can't think of the name, but it's an air and fire armor. And then the shield is from an air and air armor that was a Sunward Barricade, I think is the name. So this is another combo reskin. It's combo 3 different armors, I believe. I'll double check on the shield because I think the shield goes with a different armor also. So this is our first armor. This is dual air. So whether this is the exclusive or not, I couldn't say. I'm pretty sure it probably will be though, since it's air month. So this is male. So that's the exclusive, I think. That is air and water. Let me go back, actually. I'll show you here. I'll zoom in. So we have, of course, the air swirl at the feet, the aura, if you will. It's not really new, quote unquote, per se in that respect, but yeah. And to be fair, it's not actually them. They have a separate art team that does this. So they're just kind of given a general direction of where to go, and then they go with it. So we have the air particle effect right here. That you can see this right here, as well as the air swirls. So beyond the floor or the effect on the floor, the aura, we have the air particle effect. So that is dual air. So next up we have air and water. As you can see here, we have water droplets everywhere. Clearly air and water armor. So that's air and water number 1. I know there's more than one. I thought they weren't either, but it's entirely possible they may do it again this month. But again, it's the art team that kind of dictates how this goes. They just kind of go with the direction, and that's it. So it's hard to say. This is air and earth. I'm going to guess this is seasonal. So this is armor 3, air, earth, male. Yeah. Whoops, one too many. That is air and spirit. So this is our air and spirit seasonal, most likely of the month. So we have the spirit swirls and the spirit effects. The headdress, yeah, that actually is pretty cool looking right there on that guy. That's our air and earth seasonal. Now they do actually frequently do kind of tribal effects on air month for some reason, just because of the air, wings, feathers. So they have usually something similar to that in the air months. So that one's definitely has a very headdressy sort of look to it. I like it. It's pretty cool. Okay, then we have air and earth, or air and spirit, excuse me. Armor 4, air spirit. That's male, I think. Yeah, that might be female. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's female for now. It looks female to me. There's air and fire. That's also a new one. So there's air and fire. That's female. I can tell already by the waist. Yep, that's air and fire. So that's air and fire. I'm going to guess that's number 1. There may be 2. I don't remember. I looked through this briefly a couple days ago, but my memory is a little fuzzy. And there is the female variant of that same air and earth headdress guy. And there is the... Oh, no, I was wrong, actually. This air and spirit actually was the male. Looked female to me, but the waist on this one is much more narrow. So we're going to copy that, change that to an M. And that's going to be our male, or excuse me, our female. So there we go. And there's a step down from Ascension. I think that's female. It's hard to say. It's always hard to tell with some of these because this kind of feathery bit around the shoulders there kind of disguises any bump there might be in the breastplate. So it's kind of hard to say on that one. It looks female to me. But let me look here, just for comparison. Yeah, that's female, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we'll close you. Zoom back out. So I'm pretty sure that is the female. But one step down from Ascension. And there's another new one. That's our raid armor, so that's air and earth. As you can see, the head here looks just like the boss's head, for those of you who watched it. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. So this is the female, as you can see by the narrow waist. But this is the head that looks just like the boss. So this is raid armor number 1. So this is armor 6, air and earth. That is female. There's the female, or male, maybe. I don't know. That's air and fire. Maybe that's male. Yeah, that looks male. Yep. Okay, so that's air and fire. It's the male variation of that one. Kind of like a Shogun, super dope. Are you talking about the air and earth, or the one I was just looking at? I'm not really sure. So that's the air and fire. That's the male version. Now we have the air and fire male, or the air and earth, excuse me, male version of that raid armor. So that one is this one here. That's the male version of the same one. And there's a step down from Ascension on male of the air and earth at the top. And there is the... that's male, I think. So my original assumption that this was the male, I was wrong. Oh, maybe not. Oh, nope, never mind. So another little trick, I've mentioned this in previous streams. If you look at the arm right there and you look at kind of the gap there between the elbow and the shoulder, it's a little bit more narrow. Welcome, Expert Kill. It's a little more narrow for the female version. The arms are just a little bit shorter. They're not quite as long. So this one is actually both. These are both the male, or at least it looks like it to me. Except, you'll notice right here, a little bit of a bump to that breastplate. So this one, the arm is not as obvious. Another trick that I mentioned also in previous streams, if you look at the legs, where's the legs on this guy? There he is right there. If you look at the legs, zoom in here a little bit so you can see them. They're a little bit more narrow. So they're a little bit closer together on the female version. So this one is the female. This one is the male. So I thought I had them... sorry, this is the female. I'm sorry. Let me zoom in there again. Yeah. So this one is... it actually looks about the same. This one's a tough one. I had this a few months back where I had an armor. It was the Elemental Spawn, I think it was called. It was water and fire. The male and females were almost identical in every way. It was really hard to separate male from female on that one. This one is very similar, but I'm going to go off of the breastplate on this one, and I'm going to assume that this one here, this one I just opened, based on that right there, that little bit of a bump, and if I zoom back out here, you can see this chest is much more blocky. This one has a little bit more of a bump there. So I'm going to assume, based on that, that it's... Alex, welcome. That it's going to be, this is the female, just because of that little bump. More narrow here at the top, and kind of, you know, bumps out a little bit there. This one's just pretty much a straight shot down. So I'm going to assume that my male guess on this one was correct, and this is the female. So we're going to go with that. It's hard to tell sometimes. Really hard to tell with that, you know, some of the times that I see them in here. Okay. I highly doubt that. I really do. So this one is the female of the raid armor, but a step down from Ascension. There's the other, that's the air and water, I think it was. Is that right? Yes. So this one is the female, but instead of the male. So that's that one. Oops, not, what am I doing? Derp. Derp. Try that again, shall we? This is female. Pay attention. Okay. And that is a step down, but that's the male. That makes it easy. There's a step down from Ascension. I think that is the male. That is the male. So this is the very top one. There's the step down female version of the air and water. That's a step down on the spirit. That's definitely female. Air and spirit right there. There we go. And male. So the same one, but male instead. And there is the other raid armor. So this is the one I mentioned. This armor was originally released as a raid armor many, many months ago. It's been over a year ago, I think now. There were 3 raids that month, but because everything was still delayed by a week, this one was never used. It was released as the tier 20 to tier 40 on global reward, air and spirit, and then they ended up releasing the, I think, the set in the limited shop shortly after the war ended. But this is based on an air and fire seasonal from season 7 or 8, something like that. I can't remember where the season was. Dragon Wind Knight was the original armor name, but it was early seasons. It was like it was under season 10 anyway. Season 8, I think, 9, something like that. But this is a reskin of that same armor with air and water this time. It was air and spirit originally, but never released at the same time as the data was supposed to be, and then came out later as a war armor, a war reward armor, many months later. as the T20 to T40 on global and T16 to T50 or whatever it was on EU, because the war rewards are different there currently. So anyway, it was the one below the top tier. So that's that. So this is raid number 2. So that is armor number 7. Air, water, male. Yeah. Exclusive air. It's a reused armor. It's a reskin, combo reskin. Meteor blade for the head. The armor and weapon, I can't recall the name. Welcome, Sky Universe. Good to see you. My own stuff. I make my own. That one in particular is coconut custard. This one right here is coconut custard. Sky Universe, yeah, just joined. Showed him up there anyway on the stream. So this is the air, and they had said they were gonna try to stay away from reusing armors for the exclusives. They've done a couple here and there, but they are mostly new armors. So this one, it might change. It's hard to say, but actually, there's not that many. I think there's 4 in total reskins of 10, I think, in total. So anyway, that's raid armor number 2. That's number 3. That is a reskin as well. That was originally Air and Fire. I think I mentioned during that stream this looked like a band uniform, like school band. I don't know what the plan is with this one. It doesn't look particularly like the what's it called now? Not Draconic Hussar. That was a different one. This was a war armor, I think, as well. Air and Fire. Welcome, Toby. I don't know what the plan is for this one. This is another reskin. So this is armor 8, air and water. That's female, sorry. Thundercracker, there you go, thank you. I'll just keep asking you what that armor is, what that armor's called. So there's the female. Oh, hang on. I think I may have named the wrong one. So this is the air and earth. Oops, wrong one. This is the raid armor, which is, I think, this one. Oh, I've done some. I've boo-booed. I have to zoom in on this one. Is that the real Sky Universe? It might be. I may have boo-booed. Unless there's 2 of the same armor in here. So the head's the same, of course. There's the body. I'll zoom in here a bit. I can see these bodies side by side. Those look identical to my eyes. There's a bit more of a bump here. I may have made a boo-boo. I may have named them as ascended versions, and they're not. Oops, wrong one. There's my problem. This is not ascended. This one is. Okay, so this one is, in fact, the male, but it's ascended. This is the unascended. Oops. Yeah, it's hard to tell on some of these. Really hard to tell. The only way you can easily spot it is if you look at the top of these kind of feather bits. They're more glowy. Glowy is the term I use. Hack into your line chat. Whatever. Anyway, this is kind of more glowy. That's the term that I use. And if you look at the weapon here, compare the weapons side by side, it's more glowy. That's the ascended way. The ascended version looks more glowy. So, what that means is I named this one as Ascended, and it's actually not. This one is not the Ascended version, it's actually the step down from Ascension. So it's Evolution 1, not Evolution 2. This one, on the other hand, is Evolution 2. That's just how I name them. Big juicy chicken. Okay then. Alright, there's Thundercracker. That is the male version, the very last one here at the bottom. Reskin. That's the male version of that one. There is, I believe, looks like male. It's hard to say. Alex, knock it off. Dork. That's not even his line ID. I think that is female. I'm going to have to look at the female one to compare. Yeah, that is female. Okay, so this is female base. Mythical chicken. That sounds a bit more accurate. Okay, so that's the female base of the raid armor. That is the base of, I believe, the female of the air and earth at the top. I think. Yep, looks like it. Okay. I'm going to assume that's the female base of that air and earth seasonal at the top. Again, I'm guessing. I'll look at it later and be able to say what my predictions are when we get to the tail end of this. Okay, that's that one. So Thundercracker, this is the step down from Ascension. That is the male. Mythical chicken. Okay, there's the male base of the air and earth raid armor, which is right here. And that's another reskin. That's air and fire. That is the originally air and earth. Can't think of the name. Okay, guys, you can knock it off now. So this is Air and Fire number 2. This is a reskin, and I can't think of the name. But it's the original armor, just reskinned as Air Fire. That's armor number 9, Air and Fire, male. There's a step down from Ascension on the Air and Fire. Why are you guys so concerned about who everyone is? Alex has a name of Alex, and Sky Universe is Sky Universe. Rivercrest Knight, thank you. So when you join on Twitch, it actually displays the name you chose at the time. So yeah, it's Rivercrest Knight. Yeah. So Sky Universe showed up as Sky Universe. So that's the name that would actually be displayed if Sky was talking in the chat, which, as far as I've seen, Sky isn't. So, anyway. Air and Fire, I'm guessing, again, this is the seasonal, which I think was this one? Yes. So that's the male, I'm pretty sure of that one. Whoops, don't do that. Stop that. I wanted to rename you. Stop jumping around on me. Okay. There's the Rivercrest Knight female version, which is the very bottom one here. Stop exposing you. Okay, there is the reskin dual air. That's the female, I believe, by the step down from Ascension. Rivercrest Knight, that's a step down from Ascension as well. That's the male, I believe. Looks like it. Let's look at this one just for comparison. Yep, definitely not the female. And that's the male base of the air and water at the bottom. There's the female of that armor that was never really used. Air and water right there, I think. Yep. That's the one that was never used in-game but was added as a reward. Whoops, that's the female. What am I doing? That one. And then we have a step down from Ascension on the Air and Fire, which was this one. Yes. There's the step down from Ascension male of the Air and Water right there, I think. Yep. Yepper. By the way, there are 10 armors in total this month. I think I mentioned that earlier, but there are 10 in total. I'm guessing because there's only 9 events. There's normally only 9, so there's the 4 seasonals, so exclusive, and the other 3. Then we have a fusion armor, which in this case for this month would be air and water, if memory serves. Then we have raid, war, raid, war. So there's normally 9 in total. But this month there's going to be 10 because of the anniversary. I believe they're going to be planning on using this month, June rather. Not this month as in May, but June is going to be kind of the tail end of May into June, if memory serves from what they told me. Okay, moving on. Female of this one, yes, but a step down from Ascension. So not that one right there, but then step down. That's the base of the very top Aaron Air, but the male version. There's the Aaron Spirit. It's the only Aaron Spirit in the file, so that makes it easy. That is the male. So that's going to be a seasonal, pretty much guaranteed. There's the Aaron Fire at the bottom. That is the female, step down from Ascension. Aaron Fire, I think it was this one. Yep, that's the female base. That's the male base. That's the water, Aaron Water at the top, I think it was. So this one? Yes, sir. That's the male base of that one. And the female base of the very top one. And that's the male base of the Aaron Fire at the bottom. And that is the female step down from Ascension. Oh, hang on. Did I screw up again? Oh, I did. I renamed it wrong. This one is in fact the base. Oops, copy. And this one I just pulled up is the evolution one. There we go. I just got them out of order. That's the female base of the Aaron Spirit, right there. The only Aaron Spirit. Have we seen all 10 so far? I do not believe so, no. We're on armor number 9 was the last one, which is the River Crest. So that one is the Aaron Water at the top. That's the female base of that one. There's the base male of the Aaron Water. I think it was this one. Yes, sir. There's the female one that's just a step down from Ascension. There's the female, I think it was this one. Nope, one too high. This one. Yep. There's the base of the Aaron Water right below it, or right above it, rather. Derp. That one, yep, okay. There's the wings. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe there are in fact only 9. Unless I numbered something wrong. Let me go back up to the top here. So we have Air and Air. There's the female base, female step up, and female ascension. Male base, step up, and then male ascension. So it's very unlikely. I'll say that right now, as far as shatter is concerned. We have had far more non-shatter pets than we've had shatter pets in a long, long, long time. The reason being is because with shatter applied to the armors, it essentially negates the buff that they just added. The dual spirit is just demolishing in raids, which is not that surprising really, because with the increased stats on attack and defense, same health on the plus, but yeah, it's still just demolishing, and GMs are getting are killing 100 million point bosses, level 4 bosses, with no difficulty, and sometimes not even going through a single night by the time they're done. But truthfully, though, I don't think we're going to have any more shatter pets. It's possible, but highly unlikely. Okay, anyway, so there's that one. So there's our air and water female base. There's the step up. There's ascension. There's the male base, step up, and then ascension. Then we have the air and earth. I think this is seasonal, not positive. There's only one shattered air pet, correct. The wolf, blue fang, whatever it was called. So there's a step up female. There's ascension female, base, step up, ascension male. Then we have the air and spirit, which is the seasonal because there's only one. Male or female. There's ascension. Male base, step up, and ascension. Air and fire number 1. Base, step up, and ascension. Female or male, excuse me. Blech. Base, step up, and ascension. Then we have the air and earth raid armor, which is that's the base. That's a step up and that's ascension. There's the female or the male base, step up, and ascension. Air and water. That one is the raid armor. That's raid armor number 2. Blue Fang bin in limited shop. I don't think so. If it was very, very short. Actually, no, wait, maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was for a very short time. So there's air and water base, female and ascension, base male, step up and ascension, step up and ascension, step up and ascension. They're all there. Air and fire. Okay. Maybe I was wrong. There are, in fact, 9 armors. I thought there were 10. Maybe I'm smoking large quantities of crack. Okay, so there's Cape. Oh, I named it Cape 1. There's only one. Let me jump ahead here and find. There's some pets. There's Cape and image. So 61. 61 and 74. Okay, so 61, 74. Those are all the Cape images. And I've mentioned this before also in previous streams. So we have the main kind of just avatar, if you will, the kind of the picture of the wings on the body. Then we have the next 2 pictures are in like a fight pose and then relaxed pose. So these are kind of more flared out, kind of more out this way. And if you go to the next one, they're just kind of more collapsed down. They're like down, like in standing pose versus in fighting pose. So the picture here is almost always in kind of the like the fighting pose versus the standing still. So this is the standing still pose, that's the fighting pose. So you can kind of see they're just slightly more flared out. Anyway, that's the cape. Wings, whatever you want to call it. Alright, now we're going to go through heads, pets, and wings, and rings and amulets, and all that good stuff. So that is the air and earth up here at the top, if memory serves. Yep. So that's the head for that guy. Honestly, that's probably my favorite armor for the month. Right there, just going off of everything before I've even assembled it. There's a pet. Let me see. Let me grab the pets out really quick here. 56, 57, 59. 56, 57, 59. Make a new folder. There's another one. It's another image. So that's 60, 62, 60, 62, and 65. I just want to get those out of my way really quick while I'm on the subject here. We have 69, 71, 72, 73. 69, 71, 72, and 73. Those are all the pets. Well, 4 of the 5 anyway. I think that's all of them. Let's check here really quick. So we have pet, 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 pet. Head, that's probably tier 5. Yep, that's all of them. Okay, so we're going to go here. So this one here is the base, which is tier 1. So tier 1. That's tier 2. So they are in order. That's handy. There's tier 3. Tier 4. Oops, it helps if I put a number after it. Derp. And tier 5. And if you look at the individual images, like if I look at tier 5 here at the top, looks like a bird. So it's got like the head, the body, and the wings. Looks like a bird. You can kind of see a little bit better on this one. This is the next one down. This is tier 4. So there's the body and kind of the back of it, and the little wings coming off the back. And yeah, pets are much more difficult to assemble than armors. So that's that. Chicken, would you know? He's probably related to it. Peacock parrot pet. It's hard to say. It looks kind of more like a peacock in the head, but kind of in a parrot in every other respect. Okay, so there's air and water. That's the raid armor, I think. This one? Yes. So that's that armor there. Okay, there's the air and water toward the top. I think it was this one. Yes, it was. Okay, then we have the air and earth. Or sorry, is that air and earth? I'm drawing a blank here. Derp. Yeah, air and earth, raid armor. Duh. That's the air and spirit, if memory serves. Welcome, Great Joey. Yep, that is the air and spirit. Armor number 4 in the list. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, then we have the dual air at the top, which was the cloud cutter, whatever it was called, head, but all the other parts of the other armors, the body, and the weapon and everything. There's the air and fire at the top, which was that one, I think. Yep. And very shortly we'll have the fun job of assembling or putting all the rings and amulets with them. Some of them, like this one, the Thundercracker reskin, will be easy because they're just going to look like the original ones. But other ones are going to be a bit more difficult. There's the air fire at the bottom. Yep. Rivercrest Knight. Again, going to look just like the original. So it's not going to be hard to figure that one out either. And now we're getting into rings and amulets. Yep, all rings and amulets now. Okay, so back to the beginning here. Let's close this. Okay, so to start off with, that looks just like the exclusive, the dual air. I believe that went with the shield, or the weapon, or both. I think it did. You guys and your conversations. Okay, I think, actually no, sorry, that's Rivercrest Knight. It's got a fiery bit to it, so if I scroll in and look at this guy right here, it does have a similar kind of color scheme. So you've got kind of the fiery bits, this is air and fire, and then you've got the kind of more, the color scheme just kind of matches up. So if you look at the kind of these stripy bits right here, they kind of match up to that as well. So I'm going to say it goes with this one. It looks like the original, in fact. So we're just going to say for now it goes with that one, until I come across something that looks more like it should belong. That is the ring, or the amulet, excuse me, for the very top guy, because it looks just like the original amulet for the head armor, the original armor head. That is the air and water raid armor, which I think was this one here. Yes, it was. That's the original amulet for it. That's the ring that goes with the same air and spirit armor that was this guy up here at the top. So it looks like they're just reusing the ring and amulet set from that one, like they did with the current war armor, which was a title cut blader head. There's the Dragonwind Knight reskin, which was this one. Topaz, Meteor Blade, yep. Topaz Starhammer, is that right? Yeah. Alrighty. That one is the bottom guy, right here. Whoops. Did not mean to cut, meant to copy. It's the very bottom guy there. That one is the tribal looking guy with a headdress. The weapon is Topaz Star Hammers. Yeah, it's actually probably the armor and weapon, and the shield and head are from the Meteor Blade. That's what I think it is. That's this guy right here. Yes. Because it's going to look just like the shield, more often than not. Yep, it looks just like the shield. Cool. Alright, so that's that guy. That's the amulet for that one. Okay. That one is a new one. Maybe it's this one. It does have the similar kind of horns and look to the thing there. There's the horns on the front of the breastplate. I'm pretty sure it goes with this one. I'm just not positive. Because it has kind of these bands that go across behind the head. I think it might not be that one. It might be another Air and Water instead. Maybe this one. No, not that one. Maybe it's this one. That one has far too much feathery looks to it. This does not look feathery at all. Well, it does have the same kind of bands across there. But does not look similar enough to me otherwise. I think it is the Air and Spirit. Pretty sure. Because it has no skulls anywhere on it, so it's got to be the Air and Spirit, I think. Because this has a kind of a skull look on the shield and horns. There's a skull on the chest. Yeah, I'm going to say it goes with that one. Maybe it's fire air. Yeah, it's possible. I could look, I guess. It does have a fiery look to it. Where are you at, fire? There we are. That's earth. What am I doing? I clicked on the wrong one. There we go. That's the one I wanted right there. Okay. That's a bit better. Okay, let's see if we can find some skulls and stuff here. I don't see skulls. I see more like wings and blades. I don't think so. Doesn't look like that one either. That's the hardest part some of the times, is doing these, is going through it and saying, okay, what the hell do you belong to? I think, honestly, it's probably this one. It has a similar color scheme. Possible it's not. I can come back to it, of course, if I made a mistake. But I'm going to say it's this one for now. Because I don't think it's the Airfire. Because this Airfire down here is the reskin, the Rivercrest Knight, so that goes up with that one anywhere. Well, the ring is air, so it's going to match more with the air elements than it is going to be with the other element instead. This one has kind of more of the purpley colors, which would kind of indicate spirit to me, but it's hard to say. I'm just going to assume for now it is. I will come back, of course, if I'm wrong. If I find another ring that clearly doesn't belong, I'll come back. So that one has a cross-looking thing to it, and has kind of the horns as well. So that may actually be, I may have just done exactly what I didn't want to do. I may have just renamed the wrong one. And that looks just like that one. I did exactly what I didn't want to do. So this, in fact, does not, the one I just renamed, does in fact not go with that one. So we're going to undo that. We're going to rename the one below it that instead. Because that one definitely belongs with the Air and Spirit. So if I pull this back up here again and zoom in. So you still have that same sort of look there. But the color scheme matches up a bit more, because it has the same kind of glowing eyes and the same sort of look there. I don't know. That one's a tough one. I may have to come back to that one too. I don't know. We'll skip one for now. Let's close that one. Okay, so this one is Air and Fire. I'm pretty positive. So let's see. Where's your Air and Fire at? There it is, right there. Okay, now I'm getting really confused. What the hell? This doesn't look like that one either. Okay. Let's skip that one too. We'll come back to it. Because I'm getting confused. So that one there. The Air Earth. You're talking about this one right here is the Air Earth? Actually, that's entirely possible. It does kind of look kind of fiery, doesn't it? Yep. You are correct. That would be it. Yeah, that does look a lot like it. Yep, never mind. Okay. So that one is our ring for that guy there, which was number 85. Yeah, good spotting. Yeah, the colors really mess with you because the rings are always going to be air, and then the amulet's always going to be the other element that goes with it. But it's not always clear immediately which one's which, because you may have an air and earth armor that has what looks to be, to my eyes anyway, kind of fiery looks to it, like the air and earth does this month. And then it has these purpley bits to it, which looks very spirit to me. So it's kind of all over the place. Some months they're just that way. Okay, so that one, I'll go back up to the top here. Air and water. Definitely not that one. Doesn't look at all even similar. Yeah, definitely not that one. There's the Thundercracker amulet. Let me get that one out of the way really quick while I'm at it here. So air and water right there. Yes, so that's the air and water. That's the amulet for that one. I'll get that one out of my way right now. And there's the ring for it. Get that one out of the way as well. That's the amulet for the air and earth. So that's the... Is it this one? No. Where is it? Brain cramp. Right there. Because it looks just like the shield. So that was an easy one to spot. Shields are almost always, or the amulets rather, are almost always the easiest ones to spot because they look just like the shield, like 90% of the time. That one is the air and fire. I'm pretty positive. Because it looks just like the air and fire armor, color scheme wise. Whoops. No, don't do that, you dumbass. There we go. So let's try this again, shall we? Where are you at? Right there. Okay. So if I look here, there's the shield. There's the, looks just like it. So of course the armor being air and fire, this looks more fire because it's the amulet, so it makes sense. So this one is that one there. Okay. This one. Okay, that one looks like the air and spirit for sure. Whoops. Nope. Wrong one. I misclicked. There's the shield. And there's the amulet. Looks just like it, but of course being spirit, it has more of that kind of purpley color to it. So that's that. So that's sorted out. So which is this one here? Nope, not that one. That one. Okay. Alright. Now that one has this definite cross look to it. That's going to be, I think, our air and water toward the top. If memory serves me correctly. Yes, it looks just like the shield. Okay, good. So that's armor number 2. Amulet. Okay. There's a crafting material. Looks like blades from a propeller. Okay, so now let's go back up to the top here. So air and spirit. That ring, I'm not positive it goes with that one. I'm pretty sure, in fact, it doesn't. It's actually probably the air and water. Which was this one. Yeah, I think it's that one, actually, instead. Okay, so let's see here. Where's the... Let's close you. Let's go to the air and spirit one I just renamed as the ring here. And go back to here. Yeah, it has kind of that more T-shaped, cross-shaped symbol to it, which is repeated in this armor. There's that kind of T-shaped, cross-shaped symbol. Same kind of thing here. If I zoom in. Looks much more reminiscent of that one. Same kind of horny looking things coming off the head here, and yeah, it looks more reminiscent of that one to me. The color scheme also matches up. So that's the one it's going to go with. That's what I'm putting it with, rather. So this one is going to go with... Yo, say 1, 2, 3 if you can see my comment. Sword guard with a T-cross on top. Yeah, it does have a very similar look. Like it has those glowing eyes right there, and yeah. Yeah, it has the similar kind of color scheme to it. I'm going to say it goes with that one. Okay, so this one is in fact the one I renamed over here. We'll just change that one there. And close you. We'll go back down to the bottom here, and we have just a few more to sort through. That one, again, I'm not 100% sure. Let's start with the top. We already have that one. We have that one. have that one. Aaron Spirit, we do not have a ring for. It does, color scheme-wise, look more similar to this one, though. And there's that big skull on the chest. It's the one that really kind of logically makes sense. I'm looking on the armor to see if there's anything obviously different that might signify something else. But I don't see it. Sometimes it's on the shoulder, sometimes it's on the waist. It's really irregular and kind of hard to guess. Because there is kind of a skull shape there, sort of, and then there's the skull shape on the chest. I'm saying it goes with this one. Just that's what I think it did. It's the only one that really kind of logically makes sense. Color scheme matches up. It kind of just matches up all the way around. Okay, and this one is our last but not least. Where are you at? Top here. So we've got the air and water, air and earth, air and fire, or air and spirit rather. I already got that one answered right there. Amulet and the air and fire, which I don't think it goes with that one. I'm pretty positive it does not, because I already, that's definitely not the right one. Definitely not. That looks more air fire to me. I don't know. Looks wrong for some reason to me. Because it has the same sort of jewel in the head here, but it doesn't look quite right either on that one. Okay, I'm going to have to undo this here. So we're going to close you. Okay, so let's go through these one by one. Whoops, not what I wanted to do. Okay, so that is the Meteor Blade. Meteor Blade, Meteor Blade, Meteor Blade, Meteor Blade, and the Amulet from the Meteor Blade. So that one matches up, that's fine. We're good there. Then we have this one, which has that kind of cross shape to it, and the armor, if we go to the shield, same cross shape. There's the head, armor, 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 and the ring, which I'm pretty certain has the same sort of T-cross shape to it, so we're saying that's where it goes. So that's done. Then we have this one, looks just like the shield, I'm not worried about that one, and the that guy right there, I have the wrong one. No wonder I'm confused, because I don't have the ring for this one. Okay, that's where I'm getting off. So this one does not have a ring. Okay, down to the bottom. Move you to the right. It kind of looks like this. Oh, there's that. Damn it, there it is right there. I knew it. I knew it was going to show up at some point. There's the head right there. That's that ring I was talking about that I couldn't figure out. Air and Spirit. It was not the Air and Spirit. It's not this guy right here. This is actually Air and Earth. I crack it finally. Yeah, no shit. Okay, so this one is Armor 3, Air and Earth. Armor 3, Air, Earth, Ring. Done. Okay, that one's done. Alright, so this one now to sort out this one. So Air and Spirit, where are you at? Right there. Okay. So this one, I am pretty sure... Where's the shield? Right there. With the head. Where's the head at? Where are you at? There it is, right there. It has a similar kind of look to it, but because it's spirit, it's not going to match up exactly because it's air, spirit, that kind of thing. So it doesn't really look too much like... It looks kind of like the shoulder, sort of, to be honest. Doesn't really look too much like the shield either. Okay. What do we have else besides this one? That one. That is the Air and Earth ring, I think. Nope, not that one. The Air and Fire ring? No. No, 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 no. That's the ring for that one. The new Air and Fire. Where are you at? Right there. That's that one. Or it's Air and Earth. When I keep clicking on the wrong one. Air and Fire. Where are you? Right there. That's the one I wanted. No, it's not, because it doesn't look like that one either. What the actual hell? It looks just like this one. Like it has like the same sort of color scheme as that. But yet it doesn't belong with it. Okay. Weird. It's the other air earth. This one? No, it looks just like the shoulder. This one already has a ring. It's right there. See? Shoulder. Because there's only 2 air earths in the files. This one. And then the... Oh, raid armor. The raid armor. Duh. That one doesn't belong with it. Oops. That one does. It has the same color scheme. It looks exactly the same. Looks just like the weapon, in fact, right there. Okay, that is the weapon. So this one is named wrong. This one does not belong here. So this one is, let's copy that. We're going to rename this one as image 90, just to get it out of the way for a moment. So this one here is number 88, which is that one there. Groovy. The one you mentioned previously. Yeah, I got it. I got that one already. It's the... I got it sorted out. It goes with this one because it looks just like the weapon right there. So that one's sorted out. Okay, so this one here, this one I still have to figure out. Okay, so air and air we got. Air and water we got. Air and earth we got. Air and spirit we got. Actually, no, wait. We didn't have air and spirit. That's the one we're missing. Again, it doesn't look that much like this one to me. I mean, it's the color scheme's right, but it looks wrong in pretty much every other way. And it should look more similar to the armor because it's air. Do I have another one besides this one? I do. Okay. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. This one is the one that I'm missing, which I think is this one. Move that to the right, zoom in a bit, go back to here. Doesn't look like it really especially belongs to that one either. There's the T-shaped and cross-shaped symbols. I think I got that one wrong too. Shit. I'm on a roll today. Good God. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it belongs with that one. Doesn't look right. Yeah, I'm honestly confused on this one because this does not look right to me. It does have the glowing eyes. That is shared between the two, the glowing eyes here. And the kind of horns look very similar to these ones. So, I'm going to go with this one as being number 90 here that I just renamed as 90. I'm going to say that's that one. And the only one we have left is that one. So, starting back up at the top. Again, air and air, got that one. Air and water. That one I'm not 100% certain on. I'm not 100% certain on that one. They're not normally this hard. Welcome, Nix. This one is a little bit more confusing than the average, definitely. This does not look like anything on this armor, really at all. Doesn't have a similar kind of head to it, nothing. Doesn't look anything like that one. Okay, that one we already sorted out, that one we already figured out is already, that one's done. This one, it doesn't really look that much like this one to me either, but it's more similar to this one than any of the other ones. But I've already figured out that's the ring that has to go with it, so I have to put that one aside. That one we already, I think, sorted out as well. Whoops. Doesn't really look too much like this one either. That one we already sorted out. That one we already know. Yeah, this one's confusing to me because it doesn't look like the only armor left. Which is this one right here. It doesn't look anything like a fire ring. Well, it's an air ring technically, but it doesn't look like it to me enough. It's not a raid boss armor. I already sorted those ones out. The raid boss armors, one's a reskin, one's a new armor, and I already sorted those ones out. This one, honestly, does not look like it really belongs with this armor, but at the same time, there are some similarities. Yes, the raid bosses are air, earth, and air, water. So it does have a similar kind of looking gem in the center of the chest there, and kind of similar to the top of the shield. Does have the same kind of points that come down here like this. This kind of points up here. So, sent back to the art team to redraw. Welcome, Joseph. I think that's how it's pronounced, or Jose. So this one, honestly, I don't know. This looks like it's the only one that really it can go with. There are definitely like some similar themes to it, like it has the same sort of spikes and stuff that this one does. Doesn't really look too much like the shoulder, and sometimes they do. Doesn't look too much like the chest plate, other than the kind of the different colored gem in the center of it. I don't know. This one's a weird one. Let me look through the armors one by one again. I'm not going to worry about the ones I already know for sure. Okay, this one, that looks just like the shield. So that's not a concern. So if I go to here, for example, and I look at that and compare it to this, the shield looks just like it, so I know that one's good. But the rings are what I'm concerned about. That one, it does have a similar look to it, as these kind of cross shapes that you can see here. The weapon is similar as well, but not quite the same. The weapon has almost a fiery look to it, to be honest. That may in fact be the ring that goes with this one. So let me go look at the other ring that I haven't yet classified. No, that doesn't look like it either. Nope, doesn't look like that one. Okay, so that ring I'm going to leave as is. I think that goes there. I'm just going to assume for now it does. This is the one I'm not sure about. Oops, not that one. So, let's see here. Back to the top. If I go through them, I'll find it eventually. I always do. It just takes a while. So that one is the shield for that one. Looks just like it, just a different color scheme, of course, because it's spirit. Same color scheme, it has the same face, etc. Right there. So that's that one. That one's good. So the ring for this one, I'm not really sure, to be honest. Right, yeah. Air armors are generally bad with HP, yes, but they're better than fire, at least. Not substantially, but they're better than fire. That still looks like an air fire ring to me. And I think I'm still missing an air fire ring. So let's go back to here and compare closely. It doesn't have that face at all. It doesn't look right to me at all there. Yeah, it's definitely not the air and fire. Okay, yeah, this one's just throwing me for a loop this time. This one, I still don't have a ring for, and I'm pretty positive it's not that one. It does have some similarities, like I said, but it does look a lot like that chest. Nah, screw it. I'm going to say it goes with it. I'm tired of screwing around. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so there's the ring. I'm just going to say it goes with that one because that's the only one I have left. And we have crafting material number 1 and crafting material number 2. So we have what looks to be a propeller and an arrow. So which one's which, I don't know. But there's the crafting materials. SF35 material 1 and SF material 2. So I don't know which one's exclusive versus regular seasonal. I have no idea. Now we're going to go into the fun part. Go through these armors here. Whoops. Male, 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 probably hear my granddaughter being crazy, running around out there like a chicken with her head cut off. Edit. All right. Armor 1, 2, that's 7, got 2, duh, 4. Put these back in order somewhat so I can go through them a little bit better order-wise. There's 9, there's 2, there's 8, I think that's in order now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, perfect. Okay, here comes the assembly part. The program is called Paint.net. And if you go to the site Paint.net, it's not the company. Paint.net's like a painting company of some kind. So yeah, you can probably hear my granddaughter screaming. She's running around with her brother and being crazy. So yeah, this is called Paint.net. I think it's getpaint.net is the site. It's a really handy editing application. It's similar in a lot of ways to Photoshop, but it's free, which is the reason why I use it, because there's no way I'm paying Adobe's exorbitant prices for their applications. Okay, here we go. I don't need you right now. Okay, there's our head, the body, or the torso rather. Get this neck lined up here, look about like so, and the legs. Oh, stop it, mouse. For some reason it just randomly unclicks on me when I'm moving. I think this actually is the Meteor Blade, just head and shield, and it's the other armor that was mentioned previously is the rest of it. Okay, so if they do stick with the dual exclusives, dual element exclusives, this is it right here. Before I add anything else to it, there's the armor. Now we have the shield, which I have to admit I have always kind of liked this shield. I kind of like the look of it. Definitely have to blend in that wrist. For sure. There we go. This is one thing that was mentioned to me before. I don't know which chat it was in, but it was in a line chat. Somebody said they saw an armor with the weapon in front like this, and they were like, I can't stand that. That's the reason why I always put it behind. Back here, so you can't actually see most of that thing in the back. You can still see it somewhat, but it's not like in front of the waist, which wouldn't make much sense, like to hold the weapon like this as opposed to like this, because if you're holding it like this, it's straight in front of you, as opposed to holding it like this where it's like angled out that way, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Yes, this does look to be the exclusive, to answer your question. It is dual layer. It's the only dual layer in the files. And I did, by the way, check right before I started the stream. There are no new files, so this is all we have for the upcoming month. Usually if there's going to be updates to the data, it's usually released by now. I'll keep an eye out, of course, and if there is anything released, I'll make sure I update everyone. But the only thing I have found in the files in the past couple of months, or past couple of weeks, I should say, is there was an updated list of pets. I'm guessing for the anniversary. I don't know what the plan is armor-wise, but there's just new pets. That's the only change that I was able to find. Okay. Let's do 270. That's how that looks. Yeah, that's a little wide. Let's do 265. That's better. Okay. It's actually pretty close to square. Okay. Save this. into my folder right there that I created just for this. This is armor 1. Okay, so really quick before we go back to here, and I'm going to copy all my files, so cape and pets, amulet head ring, all the way down. And move them all into that folder where I'm going to have the assembled armors placed. Yeah, they did tell me that they're going to try to steer away from doing reskins as exclusives and seasonals just in general. They did have one in Spirit Month, though. They had that Spirit and Air that was a reskin, but it was a reskin kind of combo. Head of one, the rest of another. Kind of like this one is for the dual Air. But they did tell me they're going to try to steer away from that if possible. So this might change. No way of knowing. This is just what I have as of now. So it's entirely possible they may change it, but I have no way of knowing. They don't really tell me that kind of thing, so that's just guesswork on my side. Okay, there we go. Alright. Here is air water number 1. And because previously, if memory serves, and I'm thinking straight, air water would have normally been the exclusive. This is probably going to be a fusion armor. Because we have the air and water raid armor, which this isn't it. And then we have the air and water fusion. Is really all we have left as far as armors that match that element combination for the month. I do like both of the raid armors, but I like the air and earth one far better. I like actually both of the air and earth armors. Air and earth armors. I like both of the air and earth armors. I like air and fire armors in looks, but I don't like them in stats, because their stats are generally glass cannon-ish. Meaning they have really high attack and really, really bad HP. And not really great defense. So there's that one. That's the air and water. Again, I think it's probably fusion. Can't guarantee it, but I think it probably is. We have weapon and the shield. Where's the shield? There it is. There we go. Weapon. Massive weapon. Not as big as some I've seen, but still pretty large. Gotta blend in that rest too. Yeah, they can be. They can be really great for speed lineups, but dual fire, truthfully, would be better than a fire air, truthfully, in that case. Because their damage is even that much higher than an air fire. But as far as stats are concerned, air fire and air and also fire are all generally bad when it comes to HP. They have decent defense on the air side, not as bad as air fires are, but still not great comparatively. You add earth or spirit into the equation, and the HP goes up dramatically, and defense also on the earth side. This one is pretty wide. Not many I come across that are this wide. You can see like how far that is width-wise compared to height. How far away from the top it is compared to how far away it is from the sides. They're huge wide there. Okay. So there's our air and water. That looks pretty centered there. So that's armor 2, air water. There's air and earth. So this one is honestly probably my favorite. The air and earth raid armor is still pretty nice looking, but I like this one kind of just all around in general better than all the rest of them so far. I may change my opinion as I get closer to the end here, but that's what I think. And we are now at 1 hour and 14 minutes, and I was not expecting that sorting to take that long. Rings and amulets threw me for a loop this time. So, my apologies. I didn't expect it to take that long to go through that. It normally doesn't take that long. This month just was the suck. It was not agreeable. There we go. Looks pretty good. Second cycle of dual element exclusive, water being the last of the second cycle. Do you think we're going to get a dual element again in the third cycle? I don't know. They've talked about that. They said they may change back to adjacents again, but they're not really sure. They're still kind of debating between, you know, the various people on the DECA side to decide which one's going to be the best way to go. If they do switch back, it will be at the end of a cycle, so it'll be another month after this before they switch. So not air, not water, but fire. Fire would be the start of a new cycle going on that methodology. It does go right under the headdress, which works out well. That is a cool looking armor, if I do say so myself. I like that one a lot. Definitely my favorite so far. They have like these like tipped feathers. They have almost like a blood look to them. Cool looking armor. I like it. Didn't look centered to me. There we go. Okay, and the weapon, of course, being this massive hatchet looking axe thing. I like it. Whoops. There we go. Lots of blending on the wrist on that one too. It's a common problem I run across when I'm doing these, is that the wrist doesn't blend over the top of the arm that well, so I have to kind of erase and blend it back in. It has a very tomahawk axe looking feel to it, if you know what a tomahawk is. It's massive, of course. Tomahawks wouldn't normally be this big, but it does have a similar sort of feel to it. There's that. That looks like a very tall armor by comparison to some of the other ones. So how tall are we? 275? Oh yeah, pretty tall. Still not as big as some of the other ones I've seen, but still pretty large. There we go. My computer is very angry right now. It's dragging, slow. Here's Aaron's Spirit, number 1. Actually, there's just the one. So this is our seasonal Aaron's Spirit. Oh, stop it, mouse. Just unselected on me again. I hate when it does that. I don't know why it does that. I got a new keyboard and mouse set recently, and just randomly it'll just unselect right in the middle of me dragging. Kind of irritating. Okay, there we go. There's that. And the arm, where are you? There it is. There's kind of these wings and horny, like spiky things on the shoulders, which unfortunately gets covered almost entirely by the shield. There's that one, if we're adding anything to it. Or add anything else to it, I should say. There's the shield. It goes right about there. Actually looks good. Yeah, it does actually. I like Aaron Spirits too. They generally have pretty good stats too, and they work really well for spirit water raids. because they have that extra, you know, bonus for the spirit side of it for the HP. Yeah, fusion trees are really. I rarely, if ever, spend any gems on them, and when I do, it's only on an alternate account that has some spare gems that I'm not really worried about wasting. But other than a handful of times in the past 4.5 years, I think now I've been playing, I've had very, very minimal luck with fusions, because it's the fusion, like the combining of armors, is a chance by itself, and getting the armors that you need out of the chest is a chance in addition to that. So it's just too much random for me. That's a wide armor. Holy cow. There's too much chance. I won't waste the gems unless I know I can replace them easily. Okay. Air and Fire number 1. And again, I'm not 100% positive that ring goes with this one. I may look at it once it's actually laid out on the sheet just to be sure, because it doesn't look too much like this one all in all, but I mean, it really doesn't match any of the other ones either, for that matter. So I'm just going to go with what I have. There was one several months ago that I sat there and went back through the data 4 or 5 times before I finally figured it out. It was just something I hadn't previously seen in the armor. It didn't look right to me, and then I was like, oh, it's right there. I don't know why the hell I didn't see that, but this one, I just don't see it. I don't think it looks that much like this armor. Unless I've made a royal foul up with one of the other ones. I don't think it goes with this one either. But it doesn't really go with any of the other ones for that matter, so I'm not really sure where it belongs. There's, oops, a little too low there. So that's just a guess on my part. I can't think it would really go with any other armor, because it doesn't really look like any of the other ones at all. So really the only one by process of elimination that's left is this one. So there's that armor, which I think looks pretty cool as well. I do like the air fire armors. I like the look of them. I just don't like their stats. Okay, shield, where are you? All the way in the bottom left corner. I've also noticed that their shields generally are not that big by comparison. They're kind of small-ish by comparison to some of the other armors. And this kind of lance-looking thing here. It's cool looking. Like I said, I like the look of it. Generally, I always do. Just not a fan of the stats. Alright, there we go. There's that one. I haven't got the rest of the hilt behind it, but there's that one. Dunn's key. Okay, so that one is... These are all pretty wide. Okay. 5 down. 4 to go. This one still looks like female to me, but just the waist, kind of how it flares out, kind of throws it off on me. Well, to be fair, stats for any armor that are not adjacent and or dual element are quote-unquote trash. if they're not an adjacent element, they just don't really match up well to like an armor that is adjacent, because of the, you know, kind of the additional boost, if you will, to the stats. Welcome, Killer Hatchet. The problem with stats is that they have gotten to be so overpowered that people have gotten to where if the armor doesn't have 10k stats, it's garbage, which is ridiculous, because 6 months ago people were saying if it doesn't have 8k stats, it's garbage. If it doesn't have 7k stats, it's garbage. It's all relative. And it's all based on what the armors are like at that point in time. Like, for example, the Aqueous Bounty, the water and fire that had that stun glitch that would happen over and over again until they fixed it. The stats on that armor are only 4k. So they're less than half of the current war and raid armors. And that would be considered trash now. But at the time, 24-ish months ago, 27 months ago, whatever it was, that was like the best armor in the game, because it would just stun over and over and over again, even though the stats weren't great. They would just, that's just what people wanted, because they were just, it was broken basically, but it was still at the time the best stats in the game, even though it wasn't, you know, even though it was replaced just a few months later with an armor that was better. That's what's going to happen. The armors will just keep gradually increasing. The stats will just keep gradually getting better and better and better. And that's just the way the game is. So, saying an armor's stats are trash is relative. Raid armors are generally easier to get, especially if you have a really good lineup for them. But in a few months, those stats will be trash too. So, yeah. I actually made myself a little spreadsheet just for my own edification, just because I was curious. I ended up giving it to Deca because I wanted them to kind of see what I had been seeing. The average increase on stats, I think I've mentioned this in previous streams before, but the average stats increase from one cycle to the next, so from one Earth cycle to the next Earth cycle, is between 2,500 and 2,600 stat points on just the armor from one cycle to the next. 25 to 2,600, somewhere in that range. So roughly about 500 stat points per season, total between attack and defense. That's not counting set bonus or ring and amulets, that's just the armor. 2,500 to 2,600 points per cycle. So it's roughly 500 between one season and the next. And it's 500 to 550, roughly. Yes, this I like this one too. I like the other one a little better, but I do like this one. This is the raid armor. This is raid armor number 1. Air and Earth. Which to me, if you look at it, does have some earth elements to it and some air, but the kind of gold color to it throws me off. Makes me think fire. Whatever. Here's armor number 2. This is raid armor number 2. Air and water. This one is a reskin, technically the 3rd version of this armor. But as I said earlier on, the first reskin of this one, which was Air and Spirit, was not used in the game when it was intended to be. It came back in later as a war armor for the lower rewards, right below the top rewards. So for global, that was T21 to T50, I think it was, and then for EU it was T16 to T40, if memory serves. I like the look of this armor as the Air Spirit better than I like this one. Not a bad looking armor, really, but I like the Air Spirit version of it better. This one has this one's kind of a little too washed out for my tastes. The Spirit one had kind of more purpley effects and just kind of had a cooler look to it all in all, I there's that one. There, you gotta see it before I add anything. And the shield, which again to me just kind of looks washed out, like it doesn't look like it has enough detail to it. Maybe that's just me. The purple effect I think looks a little better. That one matches up perfectly. We aren't hitting 100k anytime soon unless they release a new armor forge, and those armors have ludicrous stats but still wouldn't hurt to slow down. Well, they did slow down for a little while. I think it was around season 24 or 23, something like that. I can't remember what it was. But there were 2 seasons back to back that the armor stats themselves, like the attack and defense combined, were exactly the same. Yeah, the shield looks bleached out. It looks almost monochrome to me. I mean, obviously there's the water effects, but it looks too bleached out, like too monotonous. But anyway, I think it was season 23, 24, maybe 21, somewhere around there. The seasonal armors, the exclusive and the seasonals that went along with it, the stats combined were identical from one season to the next. There was no change at all. So when you added up the stats of the attack and the defense, they were identical. The elements, of course, were different, but they were identical between the 2 seasons. And then the following season after that, they only went up by 300 or something, and then from that point on, they jumped back up. So they did slow down for a few seasons there. I think it was 3 or 4, and then it just ramped right back up again. So the armor creep, as they call it, the stat increases, has been going on for a while now. So it's not a new thing. It's just not really ideal, I guess you could say. Whoops, I made that a little too big. There we go, that's better. That one's almost exactly square already. My Twitch notifications on my email are just now going off from like the 3 people that joined recently. Okay, so that's air and water, number 7 I think it was. Yep. Okay, now number 8, which is the Thundercracker, which is now air and water instead of air and fire. Alrighty. Almost done. I can assemble the sheet and we'll be finished. Because we are now at the hour-and-a-half mark since I started the stream. There we go. All because of solving those bloody rings? Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, it was irritating to put it mildly. Not an easy season to figure out. Normally they're not hard at all, but this one was exceptionally bad. There's that one, which I kind of like the look of the original better. Whatever. Alrighty. Right about like that. Okay. Alrighty, there's that one. So that one is about 250-ish, 280, sorry, 285-ish. Yeah. There we go. That's a little shy, actually. I'm going to do that one. That's better. Okay, and last but not least, we have this last one, the Air and Fire Rivercrest Night reskin. And I can start assembling the sheet. I didn't like the look of the armor when this armor came out originally. I think it was Air and Earth. I didn't like it then. Don't really like this one all that much either. I don't know, I just don't like the look of the armor in general. There we go. Good enough. And if I'd had these files earlier, I would have done this over a raid weekend, because I usually prefer to, if I can, doing it over a raid weekend, because most people that want to just hit in a raid, they can just set up, 20 times and go. So yeah, I didn't like. Yeah, I agree. I didn't like it much either. So if I can, I usually like to do these on a raid weekend, because you can kind of more automate it, and then you can watch while you're waiting for your attacks to finish. This one's, unfortunately, the files came later than normal. Well, if you're on global Android versus EU Android, EU Android is still cheaper, yes, but is getting more expensive with every passing month. There are people on EU Android that are spending just as much, if not more sometimes, than global Android. EU iOS versus global iOS, however, whole different animal. As I understand it, there's just so many fewer players on EU iOS that some people have actually just outright quit playing because it was too easy. I actually heard that from someone. They said it was too easy on EU iOS. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what they said. So, anyway, that's just what I've heard. Cannot guarantee the veracity of anything, but just that's what I've heard. But there are people on Android EU that are spending just as much money, if not more, than there are on people who are on global. But iOS, as I understand it, is much cheaper. Yeah, there you go. So, and done. Okay, so let's go back to my other screen here, my other folder, and look at the size of my last one, which was 1425 by 1100. Okay, we'll start with that. Okay, let's do a new layer. Make myself my usual boxy, about 350-ish, right about there, down to about, whoa, slow down there, Turbo, slow down, right about there, to give me a nice spot to start off with. Okay, we'll put you in the, actually, well, no, put there, I think. I'll have to look at my armors now. I'm totally drawing a blank. Let's go to here. Let's take the first armor and just see how it places on here, if it goes over the top of it. Okay, perfect. That's exactly how I wanted it. Okay. There's my dual air. Yeah. That's what I mean as far as cost is concerned. It's more expensive on global, generally speaking, than it would be on EU. Okay, Air and Earth. There's my favorite armor in the whole pack of data right there, by far. Although the other Air and Earth is a close second. I do like the Air and Spirit though, too. I'm gonna have to make this wider. There's not enough room. Whoops. Whoa, slow down there. I may have to actually throw this on the second row and do 4 on the top, 5 on the bottom. There's just wide armors across the board here. Although I probably can move this one a little closer to the other. Still not going to make a huge difference though. Okay. The other armors are not quite as wide, so it works out a little better. Maybe I will do 4 on the top and 5 on the bottom. These might fit better. Yep, I'm thinking I'm going to have to. And yeah, this will work out much better. So we're going to have 4 on the top, 5 on the bottom, which for some reason bothers me, but it is what it is. Okay. There we go. There is no such thing as an iOS emulator. Okay, there we go. So there's the layout. I'm gonna have to probably, probably just gonna leave that as it is because these 2 armors here, the air and water, and then the air and spirit, are just so wide they just don't fit well. This one's still wide also, but it's too wide to fit on the top. So I just figured I'll move them all to the bottom. That's it, right there. Okay, let's go with rings and amulets now. Actually, I'm going to do a new layer just to make it easier on myself so I can put it right over the top. There is the ring. Actually, I did not want to do that. I wanted to do the amulet first. There we go. Amulet first, right about da. And ring, right about here. There we go. And that one I'm still not 100% sure on. It looks like it belongs to me, but still kind of iffy on it. I don't know, whatever. Still kind of just boggles my mind a bit. This one is definitely okay as is. Right about there. And this one right about here, which again matches up with the shoulder that you cannot really see at all because it's covered by the shield and by the headdress. So that one's that one. Okay. And we have our air and spirit. About there. Leave the ring problem behind. That is my plan. I mean, to be truthful, this one does have a similar color scheme. If you look at like these kind of like, you know, more yellowy, orangey bits, it does look more similar to that, and it does have a similar sort of horn shape to the chest. So, yeah. There are EU and global because there are people who live in EU, for example, live in Europe, that they wanted to have a different gaming experience. So the game in EU was actually entirely different for a long time, actually. The EU servers had craftable Dragon Forged. There were like 40 some odd of them before they switched over to matching up to global. And the competition on EU was like a third, if that, of global. So you could get, you know, the top elite armors, which again were Dragon Forged, but they were still, you know, good for the server compared to global for practically nothing. At one point, I was one of the strongest people on EU just because I was active. Literally, all you had to be was active, and you could do really, really well. Well, EU would get left behind only on iOS, in my opinion, because at this point, global and EU on Android are almost the same at the same level. Really, the minimum changes would not be much. If I knew what that meant, oxygen, I would say yes, but I have no clue what you're talking about. Guessing that's a reference to something I have not seen. And if it's anime, I haven't seen it. almost a guarantee. Not because I'm necessarily, you know, against it, I just have no interest, so it doesn't really hold my attention. Beep beep, I'm a sheep. Fork fork, I'm a dork. I don't know, I got nothing. Alright, there we go, there's that one. So there's our armors, all laid out nice and pretty. Now I'll get my elements. If I can find the right damn folder now. There we go. Okay, so air. Do our dual air really quick here first. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Okay, now we'll do the other elements for the rest. So we're going to do spirit first, because we only have the one. And then we'll do water, which is right there, and right there. Coincidentally, the raid armors are right next to each other. Was not intended, it's just the way they came out in the files. Okay, then we have fire, which is right here. And right there. Yeah, get different experience. That's exactly what it was. Oh, I forgot the water up here. Oops. Water. So there are 3 air waters in the files. Okay, and then we have earth, which is this one here. And this one here. Okay. Now we have air to fill in the rest of the details. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. So there's the armors all laid out, looking pretty. So my initial predictions, this is what I think it's going to be, is we have the dual air, of course, exclusive. The air and water, I'm thinking, is going to be a fusion. That's the fusion armor right there, I think. The air and earth next to it is a seasonal. Air and spirit is a seasonal. Air and fire is a seasonal. Then we have air and earth, which is raid. Air and water is raid. Air and water, war. And air and fire, war. That's just my thinking, but of course I could be wrong. But that's what I think it's going to be. That's usually pretty close to accurate, so that's just what I think at this point. So now let's put another layer here. Do the rest of our boxes and whatnot, all that good stuff. Start about here to about here. And as usual, I make the box a little bit too big. That's okay, I can always resize. And I can delete the excess when I'm done. Like so. See what we have centered wise, how well we're doing. Zoom out here a bit. Looks pretty good. Area or reskin? Yes, it's a combo reskin. It's a reskin of 2 separate armors. They both had air elements to them, but they're both reskins. Or it's a reskin of 2 separate armors. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 reskins out of 9 armors. So a little less than half. They did say they wanted to stay away from reskins as exclusives and seasonals, but it looks like this month they didn't do it, I guess. Okay, so there's our crafting material number 1. My guess is that the propeller is going to be the exclusive material and the arrow will be the non-exclusive. No way of knowing, of course, but that's just my guess. Okay, there we go. I want to move that box down. Looks funky to me being up there like that. There we go. Okay, now it's time for pets. Pet number 1, that's tier 1. Tier 2. Try to get these lined up as good as I can. There we go. Tier 3. Right about like that. Tier 4. And tier 5. There we go. Another text box right about here. And we'll do the bosses now. Right about there. And boss number 2 right about there. I may have to move these over a bit, but that's going to be roughly where I want them. I may move them slightly off to the side. It's a reskin of an air spirit and something else. Air spirit is one of the armors. Okay, back to my elements again. Oh no, wrong folder. Wrong folder. There we go. Air. 1 element right about here. And another one right about here. Okay, looks right. Alright, now we go back to Earth, which is over here. Okay, and water for the other one. About like so. I'm going to move them over to the right just a hair because they look a little off-centered to me. Look about like that. Now we do the cape. Right about here. Oops. Help if I deselected. There we go. I of course can always I can always move these if I need to. for sure. The bosses is also off center because I'm awesome that way. Okay. Alright, there we go. So, zoom back out there. That's mostly it. Let me just grab my little paintbrush doohickey back here in the back. Oh, I have to unselect. Oops, there we go. Okay, looking good. Let me just save it really quick before I do that. Move you over here. Okay, now and that's going to bug me, I can tell already. Thankfully I put it in its own separate layer so I can move it down. It's too close to the armors. And I'm going to have to move the bosses as well because they are too close to that one now. There we go. Much better. Alright. Now let me do my usual stuff here in the bottom corner. Oops, wrong one. Let's see, it's June 2018. I gotta zoom in now because it's gonna freak out on me if I don't. Stop that. I fucking hate when it does this. Oh, I can't type today. There we go. This is 35, I think, isn't it? I have to double check. I can't remember. Give me 1 second. I gotta pull up the wiki. Gotta make sure I'm not smoking crack. Let's see here. Really quick, just to make sure. Yes, season 35. Okay, just making sure. Yeah, no problem at all. Enjoy. Alright, I'm going to save this here shortly and send it out to everyone, but that is it. We are done. We are at the hour and 56-minute mark, so almost 2 hours in total. So sorry it took so long. Those rings and amulets were pissing me off. But we're basically done. I'll send it out through the usual channels as usual. And for those of you who are still here, which maybe most of you are dropping off at this point, I do have a donate button at the bottom of my Twitch page. So if you do feel like you want to donate something, it's appreciated, but not expected, of course. So that's it. Everyone have a good rest of your day, and kick ass in the war.